Hey, welcome back. We're going to talk about sawing your metal, which is the second way to cut metal. So we've already bench sheared. Remember, bench shear is the perfect choice if you have straight edges that you need to cut. So we're going to go ahead and use this guideline for our saw blade in order to cut some more intricate shapes on here. As we talked about in the other demo about how to use your saw frame, this is already set up and ready to go. The wax is on it. I have my saw blade in my saw frame. So in terms of sawing, I have my C-clamp and my V-board, remembering that this is going to be your working surface. And I have a couple different things that I'm going to show you. So starting, how to start this, how to turn curves, how to work with corners, how to brace it, and then how to end. And if you ever get tired, you can always rest your saw frame right there and then relax your hand or your arm if you've been sawing. So we're going to go ahead and start. The best place to saw on the V-board is kind of right tucked into this area right here. Most important thing to remember is safety. So you're never ever going to brace in front of your cutting blade. You're always going to brace behind the blade, and behind the blade means that you're going to brace it between the blade and the saw frame right here. I can also do a V with my fingers and brace it to the side of the blade in here. You just never want to put your hand in front to hold your metal down. Critical factors: double checking to make sure your saw blade is down and out, making sure that you're working in the small surface so you have wood bracing underneath your piece, and making sure that your metal is securely held down to the V-board. If you can't secure this metal to the V-board, you're going to end up breaking a lot of blades, which can be really, really frustrating. So what I'm going to do is start right in here on this corner. And I'm sawing right-handed. If you're left-handed, you're going to be on the other side. Your saw frame is going to be your left hand, and your right hand is going to be the bracing. So right now I've got the saw frame in my right hand. Left hand is bracing. I move it to my working surface. I get my good grip. I don't have a lot of metal right here, so I have to be really careful about that. And it is so tempting to be here, you guys. Don't do that, because you can't physically stop the blade enough when it breaks before it goes into your finger. So I'm going to brace right here. And small strokes right at the beginning. You're holding your saw frame perpendicular to the floor. I'm going to make a couple of cutting strokes right here. It may slide on you a little bit. Really light touch. Also, if you can listen to the difference between pressure, I'll give you a I'm pressing too hard, not hard enough type of thing. It should be a nice, easy motion. Keep in mind that I found my groove. I have it braced down with this hand right here, and my saw blade is perpendicular to the floor. I am not turning it this way. It's not at an angle that way. It's not at an angle this way. So I'm going to continue. Now, once you stop, because that happens, once you stop, if I do not find the groove, there's no noise here. I find the groove, then I can put a little bit of forward pressure. Now I'm getting ready to come to a corner right here. I have a couple of choices. I can saw to the corner. I can saw to the corner and take out my blade and then come in from this side. Or I can kind of curve it before I get to the corner and come back out and then cut my corners separately. Or I can saw to the corner, turn in place, and then come back out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that third one. Again, process, brace, find your groove. There's zero pressure forward on this. Find your groove, and then here. And in order to turn it, you can turn your metal and you can turn your blade. So I am now towards that, I'm to the corner right there. I am swiveling my saw frame in place. I get stuck here, so I need to readjust both my metal and my saw blade. That relationship stays the same. Find my groove. If I have any tension, I need to kind of back off or make sure I get to that light touch right down here. Find my groove. I'm turning in place. I'm not doing any cutting right now. And now I'm aligned, ready to go. So then I'm going to shift both my frame and my metal. Hold it in place. Find my groove. Slight pressure forward. I'm now coming to another corner, but it's an outside corner, so if I get a little bit too far from my line, I can always file that later. Same idea. I'm going to saw in place, saw in place, saw in place, saw in place, saw in place as I swivel this. readjust my metal. I may have to work down here sometimes, and that's okay. If you cut into the wood block, that is fine. You just don't be cutting into your skin. I'm coming here. You'll notice you hear that a little bit. You can see some of the copper in here. You never want to blow on that copper. So let's say that I'm tired and I need a break. I'm just going to slide this off, and I'm going to push this all the way to the bottom right here. And if you leave this in the middle of the blade, the weight of the metal can snap the blade. So push it to the bottom, and then you can hook it right in there, and then you can take a break. So starting and stopping can get a little tricky. Now let's say you're done for the day. All you need to do is unhook this and slide your metal down, and then you're ready to go, keeping your saw blade in your box. So we're going to start again because we have some more time. And I'm coming here, it's a little bit stuck, so I'm gently, gently, gently letting it find. I've got a small channel in the metal, and I need to find that channel with my saw blade before I start again. So I hold it in place to the side or behind. Notice I'm using my thumb too, that's helpful underneath here. And I'm ready to go. If you're catching a lot, you can add some beeswax to that to lubricate it, and that will help it be smoother. Really, really use this if you've chosen brass. Copper and silver, kind of optional, it doesn't catch as much. So I'm coming in here, brace, find your groove, up and down, use the full length of the saw blade, and now I'm ready to kind of move forward. Once you get more comfortable, you'll be moving a little bit faster with that. But again, if you keep in mind, straight up and down, brace your metal, use the full length of the saw blade when you're ready to go. Now let's say your saw blade snaps, which happens. So intentionally, I ended up exaggerating that. But this will happen if you lose your focus, you lose track of it, and you turn without that. It's really easy to get in a zone, especially get your music in, you're ready to go, of going forward or tilting it this way, and then you stop, and then when you start again, you actually have to start again this way to get back to straight up and down before you go. So this, I'm gonna have to change out my saw blade. These are trash, so I'm not gonna use these again, so that will get put in the trash. I'm going to go ahead and put this in, remembering down and out. So the saw blade's going to come down in here, wing nut closed. I'm going to go ahead and put my tension on as I push that down. Can't do that. So I tighten that in there. I'll put my tension on this way. And if it pops out, sometimes you have a little teeny piece that gets stuck in there. So just go again. Sometimes these will unscrew and you kind of lose track and you unscrew them. Just put them back in, they'll screw back in, you can break it. Sometimes this will pop off of this frame. Just bring it up to me so that I can get it re-glued in. Now, we stopped right here, the blade broke right here. So I have a couple of options for getting back in there. Option number one, I can start back here and rethread and go all the way back. And that is a tough go because if you've changed your angle at all, it's really hard to do that. So I think a simpler option is to just start from your outside edge and then merge into that line and then go from there. The other option you have is turning it around and starting from this side. Tougher to brace if I'm right-handed because all my metal is over here, so you have to kind of creatively figure out what that looks like. So I come in here, start to saw. I am, because of the way you're looking at this, I'm going to go ahead and turn it this way and merge it in. Holding it in place and ready to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and just play around with some curves right here. It has nothing to do with my design. I'm swiveling, practicing this. As long as my up and down motion is faster than my curving motion, I will not break that saw blade. It's when the turning motion is faster than the up and down motion. That's when that breaks. So when I stop again, find the groove, ready to move on. Now I'm going to go ahead and merge this back with my line, and then we'll go from there. Okay, just taking a break. So I'm going to show you a couple other things in terms of that. I'm going to go ahead and undo this, take that off. Let's say class is over. That can go in my plastic bag in my box. I'm going to put that in my box as well and then put the saw frame away where it belongs. Now if you take a look at this piece right here, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of holes drilled in there, and that's in another demo with the drill press. Sometimes your design is so complicated that it is helpful to drill a couple of holes where you've got really tight curves so that when you saw, if you break a blade, you have an area to get into, or it's a really nice clean curve right there where the drill bit is. Sometimes if you have a piercing, you're going to have to drill a hole right here to thread your blade through it and then make some tension on it so that you can saw that inside area out, and then that will pop out. Got a couple different options for this, and that's it for the sawing. Until next time, bye-bye.